Welcome to our class today.
Good day, everyone. I am Carl Jean MC Has from BS8 English 3A. For today's video, we are going to tackle about fan poetry. So without further ado, let's start. So now, before we jump to the discussion, let's know first the objectives. At the end of the lesson, students are expected to A. Recognize the three types of fan poetry, and B. Differentiate the riddles, limericks, and haikus. So now let's discuss what is fan poetry. Fan poetry, a style of poetry in its own right, different from the many other types of more serious verse. It can exist in any form or measure of poetry, granted that the topic or tune of the poem is humorous. Fan poetry is one of the genre of poetry that used exclusively for comedic purposes. The themes in fan poetry are usually whimsical, means playful, quaint, or fanciful, especially in an appealing and amusing way, and absurd. Often, fan poetry serving to tell a story, make an amusing observation, or to satirize people, places, and events. There are three types of fan poetry, and these are riddles, limericks, and haikus. First is riddles. Riddles is a word puzzle on which one player asks a confusing question and the other player has to figure out its meaning. So, riddles made up of one or more measured lines with rhymes and may consist of 4 to 12 syllables. Riddles often rely on puns and double entendres. So puns means is the usually humorous use of word in such a way as to suggest two or more of its meanings, and double entendre is much like what is sounds like a double meaning or interpretation for a word. Praise or figure of speech. Often, double entendres are used to mask or subtle deliver racy humor, or in other words, the key to solving the riddle is to realize that one of the words is being used in a surprising or unexpected way. Riddles are sometimes called brain teasers, but this term actually refers to a broader category of thought-based games. There are two types of riddles, and those are enigma and conundrum. So what is enigma? First is enigma. Enigmas are types of riddles that employ the use of allegorical or metaphorical devices. These riddles involve critical thinking and ingenuity on the solver's behalf in order to devise solution. For example, I have a tail and a body, but I am not a snake. What am I? And the answer is coin. Second, conundrum. A conundrum is a riddle that relies on the use of puns in order to achieve its desired effect. Riddle or a confusing, difficult problem or question asked for amusement, typically one with a pun. For example, what kind of tree can you carry in your hand? And the answer is palm tree. So now, what is the importance of riddles? In ancient societies, they were also thought riddles as a great test of intelligence and cleverness. The most famous example is the riddle of the Sphinx from Sophocles. Oedipus the King. Riddles can also be quite useful because solving them requires you think hard about words involved, and this strengthens the parts of the brain that deal with language. In addition, riddles also appear as an important species in terms of children's literature. Riddles have major impact in the development of children's language skills. It enriches their imagination and emotions and winning their problem-solving skills. There are benefits of riddles. First is riddles often makes us laugh out loud. We all know that laughter is health-giving, relaxing the brain and body, and helping us release stress and encouraging positive mental health. So, riddle is a fun game and there are humorous words that makes us laugh, and while guessing the answer, we are enjoying it. By that, when we are happy and laughing, it enlightens our mood. So next is riddles can support children's problem solving, logic, and critical thinking skills. So yes, indeed, riddles not only support but also it develops children's problem solving, logic, and critical thinking skills, and in addition, it also develops children's language skills. So third one is riddles can be a wonderful challenge which help to motivate children to continue working. And next is riddles have been shown to improve children's comprehension and creativity. Definitely because it enriches their imagination, emotions, and it stimulates their brain. Also, riddles help us to bond with each other. When we're working out riddles together, we become a team on a giant quest. So, riddles is an engaging activity which promotes collaboration. Last is children can share their riddles that they learned with family members, peers, and teachers, thus engaging in playful intellectual discussion and banter, allowing them to teach and learn all the same time. So now let's move on to limericks. So what is limerick? A humorous poem consisting of 5 lines in a single stanza. An AABBA rhyme scheme, and the first, second, and fifth lines must have 7 to 10 syllables while rhyming and having the same verbal rhythm. The third and fourth line should only have 5 to 7 syllables, and they must rhyme with each other and have the same rhythm. Most of limericks are comedic, some are downright crude, and nearly all are tribal in nature. Limericks often appear as nursery rhymes. Composition is structure of limericks. First consists of a single stanza. Second consists of exactly 5 lines. Third, employ 1 rhyme on the first, second, and fifth lines. Last, employ a second rhyme on the third and fourth lines. So who is the father of limericks? Edward Lear.
A famous British poet and writer of literary nonsense is widely considered the father of the limerick. He didn't write the first limerick. The first limericks come about in the early 17th and are often preserved in folk songs, but he popularized the form. More importantly, he wrote some of the best. His limericks often consisted of stories about an old man.
Example of limericks. There was an old man with a beard by Edward Lear. There was an old man with a beard who said, "It is just as I feared. 2 owls and a hen, 4 larks and a wren have all built their nest in my beard." Now let's explore the beauty of haikus. Haikus an unrhymed poetic form consisting of 17 syllables arranged in the 3 lines of 5, 7, and 5 syllables respectively. Haiku first emerged in Japanese literature during the 17th century as a thirst reaction to elaborate poetic traditions, though it did not become known by the name haiku until the 19th century. The term haiku is derived from the first element of the word haikai, a humorous form of renga or a linked verse poem, and the second element of the word hoko, the initial stanza of renga, which set the tone of renga. The hoko, often interchangeably called haikai, became known as the haiku late in the 19th century. Today, the term haiku is used to describe all poems that use 3 lines 17 syllable structure, even the earlier hoko. Additionally, in English, the haiku composed by the Imagist were especially influential during the early 20th century. The form's popularity beyond Japan expanded significantly after World War II, and in our present day, haiku are written in a wide range of languages.
Now let's discuss the purpose and theme of haiku. The purpose of haiku are for humor, to raise social awareness and to evoke emotions or to reminisce on the past. Moreover, haiku is to share a brief moment or event that the reader can bring to life in his or her mind and thus experience the same feelings. While on the other hand, nature themes and imagery evoking a specific season are the traditional focus of haiku poetry. However, in this modern day, the theme of haikus are no longer limit or focus only in nature. As a literature emerged, there are also new themes found in haikus. This is the example of haiku, The Old Pond by Matsuo Basho. An old silent pond, a frog jumps into the pond. Splash, silence again.
So that's all. I hope that you learned something, and I am hoping that you can create your own fun poetry. So that's all. Thank you and bye-bye.